To talk more about the space program in China and the accomplishment, Professor Yang Yuguang. He's from China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation. He's joining us from Beijing. Let's talk about this liftoff. What does it mean for China's space program, Tiangong 2?
Well, the launch of Tiangong 2 is really a milestone for China Aerospace. You see, China has a three-step strategy for its manned space program. As a second step, the first phase is Tiangong 1 and Shenzhou 8, 9, and 10 mission. During these missions, China has already mastered the rendezvous and docking technology. So this time, the Tiangong 2 is no longer called a target vehicle. It is called a space laboratory. It will perform many scientific research experiments. And also, the most important thing is to do some preparation work for the future space station of China. Because you see, constructing a space station is a very complicated task, and we need many breakthroughs in technologies. So this time, testing these technologies will be the main goal of the Tiangong 2 space laboratory.
And Mr. Yang, you just heard Sean's story about the U.S. space program. It is moving more towards privatization. That seems to open up a vacuum, which China seems to be filling. Talk to me about the next few steps for China. Where do you see the space program going?
Well, for China's future space program, for example, in Tiangong 2, China will perform the midterm stay of astronauts in space, because in the future space station, every expedition team will stay there for about half a year, very similar to that in the ISS. So mastering this kind of technology will be very critical to China. And this time, we will let the two male astronauts stay in Tiangong 2 space laboratory for about 1 month. So we will find what problems can happen and solve these problems. And also, next year, China will have the Tianzhou 1, the first cargo ship of China, to dock with Tiangong 2. This is to test the refueling technology, which is also very critical for the future manned space program. And in 2018, China will launch its experimental core module of the future space station. Please notice that it is an experimental one. So we will test many technologies, and if everything goes well, it will formally be the formal core module of the future space station called Tianhe. And next, we will launch 2 experimental modules called Wentian and Mengtian. With these 3 modules, all have the 20-ton level. They will form a 60-ton level space station of China. I should emphasize that although it is much lighter than Mir and ISS, but because we adopted many advanced technologies, so it can do much more things than the Mir.
Mr. Yang, I think it was about a year ago you were here in Washington, D.C. I had a chance to visit with you a little bit at that time. You were coming together for a conference here. Sean was talking about the U.S. and China perhaps partnering up, and of course this law standing in the way. What do you think about the future in terms of the U.S. and China collaborating in space?
Well, I have many friends in U.S., especially in NASA, and they have expressed their hope that they hope to cooperate with China. In 2014, I met Dr. Charles Bolden in Toronto during the International Astronautical Congress, and he also expressed his wish to cooperate with China. And he thinks that the first step is to convince the Congress of the United States to let them to cooperate with China, make it possible. The policies are very important, and I also believe that in the future, China and the United States have plenty of chance to cooperate together. In fact, we already have some small corporations. That year, I also met a small company called NanoRack, and this year they have already realized some corporations with some Chinese universities who have small payloads on board their racks in the International Space Station. So this is a very good start. And during the International Astronautical Congress, our colleagues in the United States and us will also discuss about the possibility, either from the technical view or others, about the future cooperation. And China also has the policies, and the day before last, Ms. Wu Ping, the announcer of China Manned Space Office, also announced that it is possible for the future cooperation, especially the visit of foreign astronauts to the future China space station. And they also hoped, and in the future, it is possible have a module made by other countries to dock with this station and be part of this station. That will be perfect, I think. But first things first, we need some communication to make it possible.
One final question, future space exploration. What would you like to see next?
Well, you see, the final goal of the United States at current stage, they announced that the Mars will be the destination of the United States. I should emphasize that although the United States have already visited the moon, but for other countries such as China, Russia, Europe, and Japan, if we want to go to Mars, we need to go to the moon first, because it is a necessary step to test many technologies. And we hope we can work together. And the chief of ESA has announced that they hope to establish a moon village in the future for these countries to cooperate together. I myself is also engaged in a workshop to make it possible. We will establish an association called the Moon Village Association. We hope that this can be established next year. And we also hope the United States can attend, although maybe they will not have a complete plan to go to the moon, but we can cooperate together to make it more easy. And because this kind of cooperation need a lot of investment, so working together with different countries will benefit for the decision makers to make it more easy to establish these kind of projects.
Mr. Yang, thanks so much for joining us from Beijing.